Joining me now is Shannon Everett with AmericanTruckers.com. You remember we brought him on to break the story about all of these illegal drivers and what they're doing out there on the roads and killing people. We had one story in particular we broke, and it went viral after that, and he joins us tonight with another update. This story is going absolutely viral. Have you guys seen this video? I know you have. I covered it on the Worldview Report tonight. Look at these guys. These are Indian dudes. Watch this. Look at that. Make an illegal U-turn. Now, though, boom, that just killed 3 people. Dead. Now look at him. Is he freaking out? No. No, not at all. I mean, wow. Really? There he is, just standing there. Shannon, this is going viral as well we know. Where did this accident happen?
Yeah, this accident happened in Florida on the 12th of August. So it's been a few days. It was probably 3 or 4 days after the accident that this dash cam footage finally surfaced. And it appears that the co-driver from the truck is the one that released the dash cam footage and maybe even the scene footage that you see after, where you see a shot of the actual driver, but you don't see the co-driver anywhere in the film. So we suspect that the co-driver is the one that's released all of this evidence.
Why, to clear himself, probably, right?
We really don't know why. It's kind of shocked us that someone would release this kind of damning footage in this incident. Usually this stuff is sealed and under protective orders in these types of high-profile cases.
What, the man's been arrested, right?
He has been arrested. There were some rumors a while ago on social media that he may have already bonded out. And so that's one of the problems with these crashes is we do not have proper state code to really give these guys an adequate sentence for these crimes. And so a lot of times these guys are charged with misdemeanors and they're able to bond out for low amounts. In this case, he was charged with I believe, negligent homicide. So I don't know about that, if the rumors of him being bonded out yet are true. I haven't been able to chase that down.
So if they are able to bond out, what keeps this guy from hopping a boat and going back to India?
Absolutely nothing. And that's probably one of the most egregious things of the top 4 things that are so egregious, because the whole situation is egregious. But one of them is the fact that there is no accountability if he decides to go home. We're not going to extradite him. They're not going to pursue him. In fact, the dispatchers who were dispatching more than likely were probably from overseas. We know that the office that they were dispatching from, the corporate address for this company, goes back to a house. And so it's very common that we call these ghost fleets, where these non-citizens have come in the country. They're operating from overseas, dispatch centers overseas. And then when you pull up their physical addresses, it goes to either a PO box or one of these virtual addresses, or, just you name it, anything but a trucking operation.
And 3 people killed because he decides to just do a illegal U-turn.
Yeah. And so, I mean, basic training, CDL school tells everyone that you don't do U-turns on the highway or the interstates for obvious reasons. That you could see in that video, and that's the reaction time of the people on an interstate is just it's not there. There's not enough time for them to react when you decide to cut across 3 lanes like that.
Yeah.
And so anybody with any training, and that's one of the things we've been warning. Look, these guys are not vetted. They're not qualified, and they haven't been trained in most all of these cases. We don't have any backgrounds on these drivers. We don't have MVRs on these drivers because the country that they came from don't provide motor vehicle records. In most cases, they've thrown away their identities when they snuck across the border. They've said that this driver came across the Mexican border. We've got whistleblowers that have been coming to us for the last year saying, hey, drivers are sneaking across the Mexican border. They're actually turning themselves in. They're going to law enforcement and turning themselves in so they can go into the jails. And then as soon as they come out, they get to apply for asylum. They plead for asylum, and they're doing this in sanctuary states. The sanctuary states have these immigration judges that just stamp off the asylum request. As soon as they're granted asylum, they're then issued what's called an EAD card, an employment authorization document, and then they can go apply for a CDL. The entire freight market in and out of California is now primarily controlled by these non-domicile commercial truck drivers. And so we did a story not too long ago where we talked about the fact that the two largest ports in the country, Laredo, Texas, and Long Beach, California. In Long Beach, you've got the containers coming from Asia. In Laredo, Texas, you've got all of the trade going on with Mexico. Those two ports are now predominantly controlled by non-citizen truck drivers. And so it's a national security issue.
Well, yeah, that's exactly where I was going. So tell me, Shannon, how long is it before we see a massive terrorist attack with who knows what has been brought in to the country in those containers and then shipped across the country? I don't know. You probably have seen me cover back in 2000. What was it, Logan? 2019? Was that when I did Siege, Logan, or Sabotage? Let me go to YouTube. Type in Club K cargo. I've shown this audience this so many times. Club K missile launching system. These fit. You've seen these, I'm sure, right? They go right on the back of what do we go past this commercial? But they go right on the back of a semi truck. It's exactly like what you would see come in from overseas. And look at this. This is the same footage I have in my documentary Siege from 2018. I'm sorry, 2018. Siege. No, Sabotage. Man alive, too many documentaries. Sabotage, 2018. Okay, I had this in there. These are all in cargo containers. They can actually carry more than just helicopters and drones. They can carry at least 2 silos for launching missiles. Okay, and you can put them on the back of a semi truck. So you bring them in on a cargo ship, put them on the back of a semi truck, as you're about to see, and then you move them around the country. There you go. That's 4 silos right there to launch missiles, which could have miniature nuclear weapons on the end of them. Look at that. Now, you can buy one of these. The last dollar figure I saw, Shannon, was $10 million. I think they're manufactured in Russia. So if you got...
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think of what I just showed, what I'm showing you here?
It's absolutely a risk to the system. And, we saw something more recently, too, even in February or March when you saw, it might have been April, but we saw the drone attack over in Ukraine where they smuggled in a container full of drones into Russia and then attacked their air bases from the containers.
Right.
And so every day we're at risk that when we continue to allow our logistics infrastructure to be controlled by non-citizens, that people that don't have American interest at heart.
Now, we were the first TV show to have you on, Shannon, and I cannot remember the story we broke. What was the story we broke? And then it went to Fox News and other outlets after that.
I believe the very first time we come on, we were talking about the Austin, Texas crash that killed 5 people.
That's right.
Yeah. And so since that crash, we had Austin, Texas kill 5. We had Thomasville, Alabama, where 2 non-citizens killed 2 people. We've had Chattanooga, Tennessee, where 3 were killed. We've had Terrell, Texas, where 5 were killed. And then more recently, we've had this one where the 3 were killed. And so these are just the cases that we're hearing about. I'm now also hearing from attorneys that are bringing forward cases and telling me about these personal injury cases that they have that never even made the news. And so there are people being hurt and killed all across this country by all these guys. And most people didn't even understand how it was taking place or how these guys even got a commercial driver's license. And so there's a ton of outrage right now in the country.
Is there something behind this that is not just greed? Is there some enemy state or crime syndicate behind this? Who's driving and orchestrating this? Do you have any idea?
We have identified that we have 5 hotspots. And so there's 10 states issuing these CDLs, but all of these drivers and all of these carriers are domiciling themselves into nest in certain areas of the country. And those areas are Fresno, California, Laredo, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, and the Orlando, Florida area. And so most of the problems that our trucking industry are feeling right now are coming out of those hotspots. So in other words,
yeah,
in Arkansas, we don't have a large collection or a group of these carriers, But because of reciprocity, each state is offering reciprocity. They can set up these domiciles off in these foreign states or remote states, but they're being allowed to operate through all of our states.
But is it being driven just by pure greed, or is it being driven by organized crime, drug syndicates, drug running, sex trafficking? What's really motivating it?
I think greed number one, but there's definitely there's elements of all of that involved in it, and there's also been the question raised recently: were they being given CDLs to vote? And so there's people that's trying to chase that down right now. Were these guys issued these CDLs so they could go vote? And but there seems to be, like, it has to be bigger than just trucking. As big as the problem is, and as much as many of the drivers are involved, someone had to bring those people in.
That's right.
And someone had to coordinate where they were putting them.
That's right. So you and I have not rehearsed this conversation, but now we're tracking on the same. We're tracking right here on the air as we're here. I don't believe in just coincidences, and you don't have this pattern producing itself over and over unless there's some element behind it. And that has to be a rather well-organized group. And that's why I'm wondering if this isn't actual enemy state, Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, ISIS. What group is organizing this? A red-green axis, the Marxists, the Islamists, I have no clue. But to me, this has the hallmarks of some group that's motivated by more than just cheap drivers. Got to be more to it. Too organized.
Well, over the last 4 years, we identified through FMCSA's own data some statistical anomalies where we saw groups of 100,000 drivers at a time being placed into these specific hot zones.
Wait a minute. How do you get 100,000 drivers being placed in those 5 or 6 places you just mentioned?
Yes.
So 100,000 going to just those places. I mean,
almost exactly 100,000 were being dumped into California, almost 100,000 into Florida, into Minnesota, into New York, into Pennsylvania. And so it's almost like somebody had a group of 800,000 or 900,000 drivers or people, refugees. That's another common denominator on all this. And they're having to spread them out. So it was put a group here, put a group there, put a group here. And so, of course, none of that's been proven out yet, but there are some things here that are starting to rhyme, and that's one of them.
How do we know? And again, I'm just spitballing here. How do we know this isn't the coordination of a massive terrorist attack using these trucks? I mean, you're talking about an army here of 800,000 people. Even if they just used a quarter of that for coordinated attacks on the same day or the same 24 hours, can you imagine?
Well, I think, people win wars because of logistics. The faster that you can get the supplies to the front line, the better that you can keep your troops fed. It all matters. And so even without them doing a direct assault on us, if they were able to just cripple our supply chain by shutting down, going on strike, because there are so many of them, if they were able to shut that down at the same time that a large force was to attack us, then you're already defeated. And so this is absolutely a national security risk.
So now you're going to another direction that's interesting. So put all these guys in and then shut down the just-in-time inventory to feed the American people.
Yeah, most of your grocery stores only have 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days, exactly right.
And these guys are controlling the ports. They're controlling the ports, and so they're controlling.
So you shut down the ports and you shut down the trucking. You're talking about you're not getting your medications. If you have diabetes, you have other things. You're not getting your food, your water. Bottled water, the chemicals that go into the water treatment plants, all the medical equipment. I mean, just keep going down the line. All that's needed, the chips that are coming in for equipment, that's vital. But then, if you wanted to, during that process, start crippling major arteries, do you know if you had a bunch of these decide they're going to block the bridges coming over the interstate? into I-40, I-55 into Memphis where FedEx is, or other major traffic arteries, and they just started showing up and parking. You know, the problem you'd create for several days to get that many semi-trucks out of there if they just threw the keys in the river and everybody walked off?
Well, it's logistics is one of our critical infrastructures for the national defense and also for our economy. So the fact that we would just give that over and hand that over to people who are not loyal to this country just seems insane to me. And because the trucking industry is so fragmented, most people can't keep their eye on it and see exactly what's happening. So it's been this, it's kind of the frog in the boiling water analogy, that we've kind of seen with all of this. But now the frog's jumping out, and so everybody knows what's going on. They're here. We know they're here. What are we going to do about it, and how fast are we going to do it? Because it does matter, and they need to move quick.
Do you hear that Secretary Duffy is going to start doing any kind of critical exams at the truck stops?
He actually made a post yesterday that said, look, we launched an investigation into non-domiciled CDLs. We've already found I think he said some red flags, some disturbing trends. So expect us to announce some further action in the next couple of weeks, was his exact words. We saw
information he doesn't have?
No, we've shared all of our information with them.
So you shared it all. Prior to that, though, my guess is you had information they didn't have.
Yes, we've actually been given presentations lately to people, inside of federal agencies and so on and so forth, and that we've been told that the information we gave them was the first time they had seen it.
Yeah, so that's the point I wanted to make to our audience. Shannon is giving information to people inside the Trump administration that did not have that information prior to them doing the work, the research, and putting it together and sharing it, right? And I gotta pat you guys on the back, but at the same time, I gotta say our network was the first one to give you guys a TV interview. So together, your work and our network have helped to elevate this. And now look where it's gone in the last, 4 months since we interviewed you. So again, I think it shows the American people what grassroots organizations and networks can do when we work together. We can, hopefully bring attention to what I think is something big. There's something going on here beyond just looking for cheap drivers. And I think we've just touched on a few things. I got a couple of videos I want to play. Here's the first one. Let's go with this one, Logan, please.
These Mexican tags in America. This tag, see the collar? This is a Mexican national. He's supposed to come to America with a load from Mexico, drop it, and leave right back. They don't. They stay over here 6 months at a time and even longer. A lot of them just live here in America illegally, committing what is called cabotage. Go to Google and Google cabotage, and you see what I mean. What these companies are doing to the trucking industry, putting thousands of my friends out of business. I lost 3 trucks over this competition. We can't compete because these people make very low wages. Look at this blue tag. See the blue tag on the bottom? That tag is for us Americans to be able to go to Mexico. And we don't, because we don't want to get killed down there or get kidnapped. So what happens is Mexicans, illegal nationals, come to America and use that tag here. Because the highway patrols don't know about these tags, what the meaning of it. Look, another Mexican tag. This truck, another one too, I bet you. Look, there it is, another blue tag. Please help us out. We have more Mexican trucks and parking lots than we have American trucks. They're putting us out of business. They keep the rates really low, really low. Look, if I go over there, I bet you those are 2 Mexican nationals. Look, he looks Mexican already to me. And if I run the whole parking lot, it will be that way. Please help us out. I'm over here in Louisiana on I-10, Help us out. Call your senator, your congressman. Tell them to stop B1 visa. Stop B1 visa from Mexico and Canada. Canada does the same thing. And they're putting us all out of business. All Americans. We can't deal with these. I mean, look at their trucks. They got brand new trucks versus our trucks. We drive junks, and these people from Mexico are driving brand new trucks. Well, you've seen it yourself right here. Now here it is. This guy's Mexican right here is filming me. Look, brand new trucks. They drive. It's what they do. We need to stop, and please call your congressman and senator and have them stop.
Wow. Are you aware of what he's talking about with those tags?
You know, it's funny you show that video. That's exactly how my advocacy started. I had to lay off 400 truck drivers because of competition to trucks using those tags. And so in 2019, you know, I started lobbying our legislators saying, hey, we need to stop allowing B1 visas to come into the United States because I just laid off all these truck drivers and nobody wanted to hear it. They said we were the only ones saying anything about it and pretty much was told to shut up. And so I put the issue down and went and got into regional truckload. And that's when they created the non-domicile CDL and crashed that industry too, you know? And so I was just the first victim, but absolutely that driver's correct. A B1 visa is a visitor visa. So it's only supposed to be used for people who work for a company in Mexico or China and are here on business visiting a conference. So like they fly into Las Vegas to go to an exhibit or a trade show. It's a visitor visa that you're coming in to visit, you're going to the trade show, and then you're leaving. They are not for you to work on. You're not supposed to, so they are illegal. All of those trucks are illegal. So we just need our Department of Homeland Security and ICE to enforce the law. And today, for the first time, Benny Johnson, he's got a great account on X. He made a post that I think it was Kristi Noem herself or someone in her staff told him that they're getting ready to put ICE in weigh stations. And so all of that could be coming to a head very soon because as soon as an ICE officer runs into one of those guys and checks their paperwork, they're done.
And how is it they have the money to have such nice trucks? Again, the question is, who's the money behind this if they got such nice trucks?
Well, they've been competing with American trucking companies. We have to pay our drivers, including benefits, taxes, and insurance, average probably 80 to 90 cents a mile all in. They're paying those guys. We've got record of them paying 15 to 20 cents a mile, and they don't have to pay any tax, no benefits, no insurance. And so they've got about 60 cents a mile there that they can afford to buy some nicer equipment than what the Americans are able to afford because they're not paying any income taxes and they're not paying any benefits for their drivers and they're not paying any insurance.
You're saying they pay their drivers 15 cents a mile?
Correct.
So 800 miles is $120?
That's right. That's the lowest we've seen. I think they stay around 20 to 25 cents, somewhere in there. So if you do it, you know, typically, essentially the way it kind of comes out is they're paying the guys like $600 to $800 a week. But there's no taxes or anything. So that's their gross and their net.
Let me go to one more video. Here's a CDL driver, American, obviously. He is livid. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
And trucking schools out there that are training these people and getting them their CDLs, and y'all are just pushing them through so they can get that license and you can get that check. Can y'all stop? Please, for the love of God, stop. Raise your standards. Spend more time with these guys and gals. Please. Y'all are putting drivers out here who ain't got no business being on the road. Okay? No business whatsoever. I just watched a driver, obviously Middle Eastern, okay? Just got here, barely speaks English. Said he just started driving 3 months ago. He tried to turn his truck around, and he's so unfamiliar with the truck and doesn't realize how wide he has to swing that he got his shit stuck between the building and a giant stack of racks and damn near jackknifed his trailer. That was first off. I had to guide him out of that. I had to tell him where all his safe spots were because he didn't know where they were at on the truck. He's not familiar enough with his truck to know how far he can pull up or how close he's going to get to something. I had to guide him through that. Then he damn near knocked down a whole bunch of other rats because he forgot about his trailer being behind him. And he cut a turn too sharp. Then, when he was trying to get backed into a door, he couldn't. I sat there for like 30, 45 minutes getting unloaded and reloaded. I went in to get my paperwork and he was still pulling forward and backing up and pulling forward and backing up. And look, that's no hate to the driver. It's hard to back a trailer up. But at the same time, whew, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are putting dangers, threats to human lives out here on the road. This ain't a Prius. This is an 80,000 pound vehicle. The trailer's 53 foot long, Jack. It's a big ass vehicle. And y'all are putting some highly unqualified people behind the wheel. Please stop.
Wow. Yeah, well, there you go. And again, Middle Eastern. How many of them are Middle Eastern? What percentage of these illegal drivers are Middle Eastern? Do you know, Shannon?
Yeah, there's an account on X called Maybe Danielle, and she's got a great chart that she's got posted, and she actually, I think, just reposted it again today. And it talks about the number of times that the name Singh has shown up as the filing officer for new DOT numbers. And it's misrepresented in the industry by like 8 times the second place name that's represented. And so they make up a large majority of the problem for sure in the non-domicile CDL space.
What's her name? Maybe Danielle?
Yeah, Maybe Danielle Lee. And if you scroll through her stuff, you can see the number. She just posted one today, 3 hours ago.
Logan, can you help me find that? Maybe we can show it real quick. Maybe Danielle Lee. I think I may have just found it. I think I may have just found it. I don't know.
She's a firecracker. She does a real good job of chasing stuff down.
Is this it right here? This is it right here, right?
Yeah, that's her. That's her.
I'm going to follow her. Okay, and where's her little chart?
Go down to the last 3 hours, and I'll show you one of them here. Keep going. Keep going. That one right there. Look at that. So look at the name Harjinder Singh Trucking Companies. So this is how many times Harjinder Singh has started a new trucking company. And then look at California, 117 times. So they're definite, that's definitely a prominent name in the California market. And if you keep scrolling through our stuff, you'll find a chart that shows the number of, or the most popular names in trucking starting new companies. And Singh is number one. I'm trying to see if I found it. It's 19 hours ago. It's US DOT count by last name. I scroll down to 19 hours ago. I'm going to go ahead and repost it, and you can see it on the front of my page. That way you can just go to my page and see it on the front.
Okay. Are these Islamic names or are names from India? Where are they from?
The chart that we've got shows both Indian names and Hispanic names. And it's just kind of diverse. It kind of shows you what we have illustrated on our map, that these are really coming from 4 different areas in the country. And that's Eastern Europe, that's Asia, that's Central America, and Africa. But what'll jump out to you is no Americans are starting new trucking companies. There's a there you go. That's the one. And so you can see of the new trucking companies in the U.S., these are the last names of the most popular last names of the people who started the trucking companies. And you notice the trend here. Americans are being replaced.
Mm-mm. Well, you've done a great job, Shannon, and your whole group has. And folks, you should follow them. Here you go. There's their handle, ATU Truckers, at ATU Truckers, because they keep the latest news going. And we're going to have to get you back on. But I think there is some serious national security problems here, as we have alluded to. And basically, if it wasn't for your organization highlighting it and bringing it to our attention, I don't think most of us would have even really be thinking about this. I mean, because you almost have to be plugged into the trucking world. I do have a lot of over-the-road drivers that listen to us. We got a lot of response from them when we did the initial show with you, and our phone lines just lit up with over-the-road drivers. They're telling us that they hardly see any American truck drivers when they go to these truck stops. That there's themselves and maybe one or two others. The rest of them are all foreigners. Are you hearing that same thing?
Well, the chart illustrates that perfectly well. And that is, this is a replacement, and we are not in the first inning. We're closer to the last inning. And so this just represents, that represents 2018 till now. So what they're telling you is that 7 of the 10 names there are not, domestic or very likely non-citizen names.
Johnson is the dead last name American. The rest are all foreign names.
Johnson, Williams, and Smith there. But the rest are from those hotspots.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep us posted, would you, Everett? Or excuse me, Shannon. Shannon Everett's his name. I'm sure that's not the first time that's happened, Shannon. Keep us posted. ATU Truckers, doing great work. And thank you for being on again tonight, Shannon.
I really appreciate y'all's help in getting the word out. Thank y'all for being a part of it.
You're welcome anytime. It's also AmericanTruckers.com, folks. That's their website as well, AmericanTruckers.com. We'll be right back.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.